Oh, if I can help falling in love with you, like a river flows surely to the sea, darling, so it goes. Some things are meant to be.
Hi, it's Stacey, and today is June 13th, 2021, as I record the director's cut commentary for this wedding gig log that you're getting ready to see that took place back on October the 6th of 2018. This was Andrew and Jamie's wedding gig log, and I'm going to be posting the original gig log at the end of this video, so you can make sure you can check that out as well. But anyway, Andrew and Jamie, they were just a wonderful bride and groom, and we were on our way to Pensacola NAS. And this room is going to look familiar to you because I just did another director's cut commentary from the same room from a wedding in 2010. I think I did that back in December, I believe. But anyway, you can go back and check that out. But now the footage you're looking at isn't from 2018. This was from that 2010 wedding that we did, going to the same place. And the reason I don't have the original intro footage from this particular wedding gig log is because at that particular time I had somebody that was going with me to the weddings, and well, they just recorded me the whole time, and I didn't think you wanted to see me sitting there talking while I was driving, so I thought you might actually want to see some footage of Pensacola while we were driving. So that's why I went ahead and edited that out. But anyway, you can take a look at the original gig log at the end of this video and see that where we restored that footage as well. But now, like I said, this particular wedding took place at Pensacola NAS at the Mustin Beach Officers Club, and this room is going to look very familiar to you. Like I said, we just did another director's cut commentary, a gig log from there just a few months ago. And the only difference is we were set up over on the other side, and I had my big JBL speakers back then. But now this particular wedding, of course, you see my RCF speakers and the Parcans and the Revo 3 and the Revo 4 out. And, you know, this is before I had the facade that I have now. You know, I got a facade now that's made out of scrims that really, you know, illuminates the table and makes it look really nice. And, of course, there's my Fender Passport that I normally use for ceremonies and the older computer there. Now, that computer you saw on the table there, I'm actually using that computer right now to record this director's cut commentary. So I still use that one, but I've got two modern computers that I normally use for wedding receptions that you'll see in most recent gig logs. But again, this was back in 2018. There I am with my goatee that I had, and it wasn't long after this wedding took place I shaved off my goatee, and I've had it shaved off ever since. So anyway, there we are. We're doing the cake cutting there, and once again, this was just a very fun wedding and a very fun bride and groom. And what was really neat is I found out that the officiant who officiated their wedding actually is from the town that I was born in North Carolina, which was really neat. A really small town called Morganton, North Carolina, in western North Carolina. And it was pretty neat to have a chance to talk to him and his wife about, you know, Morganton and what they do there. I think he owns a local shop there, so I told him I'd have to make sure that I come by and see him when I'm up there. And whatever that is, once COVID and all that stuff is finally, you know, behind us for good, I may make a trip up there and maybe go see him when I go see my relatives, but I thought that was pretty interesting. Alrighty, here we go. Here's the bride and groom's first dance. You can see the Revo 3 there, just creating some nice illumination. Now, since this particular wedding took place, I really don't use the Revo 3 during the first dance that much anymore. And, you know, I've had, you know, brides say that they like it, and I've had some that say, oh, well, you know, we don't want any lights at all. And it's just really based on bride and groom's preferences, but I've noticed that during the spotlight dances, I'm usually not doing lights anymore, unless the bride and groom specifically require, or ask, or requested rather. And here's the mother bride dance. Now, you know, we have a lot of times when we have brides that, you know, they may not have their father there. Maybe their father passed away, or maybe they don't have a good relationship with their father or something like that. Or maybe they want to just do a dance with their mother and their father. You know, I've had all kinds. So, yeah, a mother bride dance really is not that uncommon nowadays. And, you know, I tell brides that, you know, we'll do spotlight dances with whoever you want to do spotlight dances with. I've had some brides that want to do spotlight dances with their grandfather, or maybe a favorite uncle or stepdad or somebody like that. And, you know, like I said, we'll do whatever dances they want to do. And at one time I had a brother come up to me, the bride's brother, and say that the bride's father had passed away a few months before. And he said that she was really upset she couldn't dance with her father, but he wanted to do a special surprise dance with her instead. So that really worked out well. So we do the things like that as well. And here we are at the mother groom dance, which again, another special moment here. And you notice everybody there, you know, they're all paying attention to the dance floor, and that's what we like to see. I mean, I've done weddings before where people are on their phones and they're in the back talking and they're not paying attention or anything like that. But you notice all these folks here are really having a good time and, you know, paying attention to everything. Now here we are in the open dancing. Now look at that one tall guy there, right there in the middle of the screen, boy. I remember seeing him and I was like, oh my gosh, that is a tall guy. I wonder if he had to duck his head to come in the door, but man, I couldn't believe how tall he was. But you can see he's out there having fun. And in a few minutes, you're going to see the bartender was having fun as well. This was just a very, very fun group, and I really enjoyed working with them. And there you go. You can see them dancing a little bit more. And of course, this was back before COVID-19, back before social distancing and masks and all that. So, this was, just like I said, just a really fun time. And this particular room, is just one of several rooms there at the Mustin Beach Officers Club. They have a big ballroom where they have a stage. I've done weddings in there before. And then this is one of the smaller rooms. And then they had another smaller room right across the hallway over there, which is where I did a ceremony a few times. I've also done other receptions in there as well. So, yeah, just a beautiful place there to be able to have a reception and a wedding and ceremony and everything else. I mean, like I said, you got your choice of the big ballroom, or you can have one of the smaller rooms like this. Now, I've actually done weddings where they've used this room as the groom's room. The groom would have like a big pizza party in there for all of his groomsmen, and that would be the room that they'd change in. So I've seen them do that before, too. But anyway, yeah, just a beautiful place. I haven't been out there recently. They actually have been really, really restrictive on access to Pensacola NAS since that terrorist attack that happened back in December of 2019, if you remember that. A guy went into one of the buildings there and opened fire, not far from where the Officers Club is, where this gig log was filmed. And since then, they've been really restrictive. And then, of course, we got hit with COVID, and they've been even more restrictive over that. So, yeah, it's pretty hard to get on base right now. Not that it was really easy before, but I haven't done any events out there since then. But yeah, you can see they're out there all having a good time, and I just remember, this is one of those weddings where everybody just stayed right there on the dance floor, and it was really fun. Now, this particular bride and groom chose my package that doesn't include the uplighting of the custom monogram or anything. And you may be asking, okay, well, how long does it take you to set up something like this, even with the second sound system? And if I can remember correctly, I want to say that it probably took maybe close to 2 hours from the time I started loading out until the time I got everything set up with both sound systems. Just setting everything up, because even though it doesn't look like a whole lot when you're looking at the DJ table, there's really a lot that you have to hook up when it comes to these lights and everything else. I still use a light controller where I have to actually wire everything together, and that takes a little bit of time. So that's one of the things that takes time there. Now, if you add in uplighting and the custom monogram, then you got to add some more time into that. That takes a lot more time as well. And usually I usually allow about 3 hours to set up, and usually about anywhere between an hour to an hour and a half to break down whenever I've got a setup like that. And it just depends. I mean, it just depends on the setup and what all I've got to set up, depending on how long it takes me to set up and break down. There we go. So you can see the bartender there. She was having a real good time, and she was out there just enjoying herself. I'd worked with her before. She was just a real hoot, and just really loved having a good time out there as well. And I thought she was probably going to get out there and start dancing with them out there on the dance floor, but she never did. But that would have been pretty funny if she had. I have done weddings before where the wait staff and the bartenders and everybody have gotten out there with the guests and actually danced with them, so that's always fun as well. And there's that tall guy again. I still couldn't believe how tall he was. Now, I'm not sure who she was. I think she may have either been the mother of the bride or the mother of the groom, but she was having a good time as well, as you can see. And she came up and kept requesting a lot of songs as well, so that was a lot of fun. And that's what I love to see. I love to see people out there having fun like this. And like I said, this was just a really fun wedding. And this was not long after the Florida Panhandle had been hit with Hurricane Michael that devastated Panama City just 100 miles to our east. And of course, Pensacola didn't really take too much from that, but this was only like I think like a couple weeks after, or actually no, I think this is before Hurricane Michael. I think Hurricane Michael hit like about another week and a half or so after this wedding. So this is before Hurricane Michael. Okay, I stand corrected on that. But anyway, this was just a fun bride and groom, fun group, and you can see they just had a blast out there. I got a really nice email from the bride as well after this was over with, and she said everybody just had a great time. You could tell that they all had a great time. I mean, I don't think there was a single time at this whole wedding that the dance floor got cleared. You know what I'm saying? I think everybody just really enjoyed themselves. They all had a good time, and that's what we like to see. And the key is planning and preparation. I mean, the way that I do things when it comes to planning and preparation with my brides to make sure that we got the music that they want is I give them all a form to fill out. And they can fill it out online, and they can list their music that they want and everything else. And I tell them that they can have 15 must-play songs for their open dancing. And those are the songs that we'll make sure we put our first emphasis on. Now, that doesn't count their first dance or, there's other spotlight dances or any of the music for dinner or anything like that. That's just 15 must-play songs for the open dancing. And then I tell them they can make me a secondary list of songs we'd like to hear, but if we can't play them, no big deal. And then what I typically do with that is I take both those lists and I mix them in with requests from their guests, and that's usually how we do things. And it works out really well when we do that. And I had a lot of guests coming up to me that night making requests as well, and you can see they're all out there having a good time. And the slow dances really worked well too. I was really surprised by that. A lot of times, I'll play a slow song, and they don't really want to have any slow dances. They just want to have all fast dances. But there are a lot of people there. And I'm one of these that's like that myself. If I'm attending an event, I'll probably go out there and slow dance, but I'm really not a fast dancer myself. That's why I stay behind the DJ table. But that's okay. There are people that enjoy just listening to music, and they're not really into dancing. And I'm a perfect example of that. If you saw me as a guest at a wedding reception, I'd probably be the guy that'd be sitting there at the table enjoying the music, but not really getting out there and dancing a whole lot, if that makes any sense. But that's okay. I've done plenty of weddings where we've had people like that before. They're enjoying the music, they're loving the music, but they're just not out there dancing. And that doesn't mean that they're not enjoying anything. It just means that they're not into dancing. And I can get out there to slow dance if I've got a partner, but like I said, I'm not really into fast dancing that much, but there are people that are. And here we are doing the bride and groom's final dance. You see how I get everybody to form a circle around them there. Well, actually, it looks like they formed a half semicircle around them. But we put the bride and groom in the middle of the dance floor, and we just end the dance there. And end the reception there at the end. And of course, after this was over with, I wished the bride and groom well, and then asked everybody to move outside. I think they lit sparklers, if I'm not mistaken. And that's how we did the bride and groom send-off. Okay, now this footage that you're seeing here with me driving in the rain, this is actually the final wrap from another wedding that I had done. And the reason I replaced this footage with the original footage is because in the original final wrap, I was actually just sitting on my couch in my living room just talking into a camera, so I didn't think you wanted to see that, so I decided just to replace the footage while we do the final wrap here for this gig log as we're driving along. But I thought you might want to see Pensacola as well, and this was a very stormy night, as you could tell. I was coming back from a wedding, and we're coming into the area where we call Car City, and the reason they call it that is because there's a lot of car lots in this area on both sides of the road, as you'll see. This is Highway 29 heading northbound in Pensacola, so I just thought, I'll just throw that in as a little bonus here at the end of this particular wedding gig log that you just saw. But now, like I said, this was a very fun bride and groom. I really enjoyed having the chance to work with them. They were a wonderful couple, and here's my little congratulations note to them, and you can see their footage there as they're sharing their first dance once again. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching this wedding gig log. Again, if you want to see the final footage of this particular wedding gig log, be sure and watch it here at the very end of the video. And I'm going to provide a link to it. And I'm also going to provide a link to the other wedding gig logs that we have on our YouTube channel as well, so you can go back and look at those. And I got plenty of them. I mean, we've been doing wedding gig logs since 2008. I've been in business since 2003. So we got a lot of videos right here on our YouTube channel, so be sure to go in and check out some of those. Be sure to like and subscribe as well. So anyway, I enjoyed watching this gig log with you, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And be sure to click on those links above, and you can watch the original gig log from this particular wedding with all the original music and everything in there. Or you can go check out the playlist of other wedding gig logs as well. Until next time, take care, God bless, and practice and enjoy.